So in this video, we're all about the planning. I am going to say goodbye to my old bullet journal that I have been using since February and go and start a new bullet journal. And if you would like to see how I set this journal up, you can check out my previous video. I will leave a link for you for that. I started this journal in February, so it's May now. It hasn't been that long, but it just feels like forever. And this is my first pre-recorded edited video in almost 2 months, so I feel a little rusty. I feel a little weird, but hopefully you guys will bear with me as I set up this new journal. This is number 13, so I'm going to go into journal number 14, and I like to say goodbye to the journal, and I have a letter in the back that I wrote to myself. I will read that for you, and then we will say goodbye to this lovely lady person thing and we will go into the new journal. One thing I wanted to put at the front of the old journal, now that it's all completed, is an index. So that way 5-10 years from now I can find everything. So at the top of the page I put the more important sections of the journal, my journaling prompts, things like that, and at the bottom I put all the weekly spreads. For my new journal, I wanted to do a travel theme, so I bought all these old maps from Etsy. I didn't know you could buy that kind of thing, but there you go. And here is my new shiny notebook, ready to be used, ready to be filled up with all of my crazy thoughts and feelings and stuff. And look how beautiful and clean it looks, and it probably smells amazing too. And of course, I couldn't just put any old map in there. I got to figure out where I actually want to visit. So that took a little bit of time. I kept trying to fiddle with this European map. I like the vintagey look of it. But ultimately, I went for the big dog. I got this big folding map and I fiddled around with it. I wanted to see exactly which countries I wanted to visit and if it would fit inside the journal and how I could do that. I took a pencil and I just traced around different areas to see what would look best inside of the journal, and I went in different angles and different directions, and finally I found an area that I liked and I decided to go ahead and commit and cut that out. And I have my little scissors here. I just wanted to cut around the pencil drawing that I did. And yeah, so I am interested in Asia, in Southeast Asia, and I would like to possibly visit there in the coming year. I don't know when, don't know where exactly, but that is an area of focus for me. So I decided I'm going to put that in the front section of my journal so I could see it every time I open the journal. And here I'm just taking some glue stick and going crazy with that and pasting it in my little map area inside the journal. And I love glue sticks so much. I wish this is not any kind of advertisement for Elmer's glue stick, but I just like glue sticks. I love pasting and cutting things and yes, making collages and things like that. So here now I am just fiddling to make sure that the crease is okay, because I hate it when it gets kind of wrinkly and weird when you close the notebook. I've tried to paste things before and sometimes it doesn't lay right and it gets all kind of wrinkly and not cute looking. So I went ahead and just played with that for a second, and finally I decided that I would go ahead and paste. I liked the way that it looked, so I took my little glue stick and went to town with that. And now I'm just doing the edges. I want to make sure everything lays down flat, especially along the edges. I'm going to be flipping through it a lot. And looking good. All right, now I spend a little bit more time kind of fiddling with that crease to make sure it kind of folds down correctly instead of being all puckery and weird. And that is still taking some time. Look at me, just making sure. Yes, all right. And now we have it the way we want it. And I'm going to just slice off the edges with the scissors. Yes. Going around and making sure that all the edges of the map line up with the edges of the page without also cutting off the edge of the page because that would be sad. That's less writing surface or something. And here we are with our finished front cover. It looks so beautiful. And now it's time to do the back cover of the journal. So in the back of my notebook, there's a little pocket, and in that pocket, there is a little ruler, and that will come in handy later. But right now, I am going to figure out another map for the back cover of the journal. I knew I wanted to include part of the US, most importantly, the part in which I live, and also South America, because I'd also like to travel there. And here is my finished selection from the map. It hurt me to cut that map up, but it does look pretty. And now I'm trying to figure out how to fit it in the back cover of the journal, because obviously there's the pocket there. I wasn't sure if I wanted to get rid of the pocket, cover it up, try to piece everything together. So I ended up deciding to use the pocket and cut part of, basically just cut it so that it is folded inside the pocket. You're gonna see, it's difficult for me to describe, but yes, I wanted to make the pocket still useful. And I'm sorry, South America, I had to cut a sliver out. You're gonna see in a minute. There will be a couple of pieces of Peru missing maybe. So yes, I'm just cutting around the pocket, and now I am tucking it inside to make sure it will fit and look okay. So it is looking good to me. So I am now going to remove that flappy and put some glue there and put the flappy back in the pocket. How about that? I like to use my pocket to put notes, to put extra paper clips. Sometimes I put little fortunes from fortune cookies, just you name it. There are all sorts of things in there. Stamps. I was debating, do I want to try and fit the paper, the map underneath inside the pocket on the other side? So I decided not to do that. It seemed like it would be more trouble than I cared to have, so I went ahead and just pasted the other side of the map on the other page, and then I didn't have to worry about creasing in the middle when I closed the journal. So don't you worry about that white space in between the sections here. I have a use for that, so that is coming up. But I like the way that this is looking so far. I'm just adding some more glue stick. And now I'm taking my ruler. I'm getting my ruler. Okay, I have my ruler. And I am just using it kind of as a squeegee or something to get the edges really crisp. And now I'm just cleaning up the edges, going back over again with the ruler, and just making everything very neat and more polished looking. And there we have it. Look how beautiful. And the reason I wanted to include the U.S. in my map is that I had to rep my city, Cincinnati, Ohio. The map was so beautiful. I hated cutting it up, but I wanted to make sure that I got the continent of Africa in there somewhere. So I went ahead and put that in the middle of the journal, right dead in the center, page 80. And I'm just gluing it down, and eventually I'll put a collage there or something. I don't know. And now I'm taking the pocket from my old journal and I'm emptying out all of the postcards and stamps and fortune cookie fortunes and all of that stuff, all the little notes to myself and my little paper clip, I can't forget that. And I'm going to just shove all of that in the pocket of the new journal. Boom. And then I cut out another section of the map, and now I'm using another paper clip to hold that back there. That is for my letter to myself, which I will write later. And here I decided to make another weekly spread, which is kind of silly because I started the new journal on Thursday, but I wanted to be able to open the journal and see a weekly spread. So there you go. So I'm just writing everything all over again. Loo. And now I am taking these teeny tiny little weather stamps and putting the weather forecasts in for each day, which gives me such joy. These stamps are from Etsy. They took all my money, and I don't even watch weather forecasts on the news, but now I pay more attention to the weather because it's like I gotta know what stamp to put in my journal. And now I am writing continued from journal 14. Oh, wait, no, it is 13. That is the number of the previous journal. So I am covering that and starting again. Yes. And now I am taking a pencil, and thank goodness I used a pencil to mark the sections where I will put my future log, my vision statement, my intelligence report, which is basically like, who am I? What are my values? But I'm glad I did it in pencil because I ended up switching some sections around. And now I am making my who am I section to remind myself of my values, things that make me happy, things that I'm passionate about, my preferred living environment, my preferred work environment. If there's ever any doubt as far as making a decision or anything like that, or if I feel distracted by a shiny object, I can refer to this and be like, no, Alicia, that's not the way to go. And I did actually use this section to make a decision the other day, so it does work. First, I felt kind of silly making this section, but when you turn to maybe a partner or a loved one and you say, do I like bananas? And they say, no, you don't like bananas. Remember, they give you a stomach ache or whatever. It's that kind of concept. Sometimes you just need to be reminded. And here I'm making the Sunday planning time section. So these are just some journaling prompts that I like to do most Sundays in order to help myself plan and help myself get ready for the week. This is something I do in addition to before I make my weekly spread. And I do strongly feel that planning is a form of self-care. You saw that at the top of the page, because you're placing a higher value on your time and your energy, and you're starting to prioritize other forms of self-care like journaling sessions and exercise and getting enough sleep, all those things, you know what I mean? And even though I'm not always a great planner and I don't always end up doing what I plan to do, being more intentional with my time has helped me so much. And on the right hand side, this is something new I'm trying out. So this page is going to be see the vision. So these are journaling prompts to help me think about the future a little bit more, help me think about the vision that I have for my life. And I like that last question. What beauty am I building that the world can't see yet? And then I tried to draw this eyeball and it freaked me out so much that I ended up covering it up with correction tape. I don't know why it freaked me out. I couldn't deal with it. I could see the vision without that creepy eye. And now sometimes I have to revisit sections after I've figured out what I want to do. So yes, I'm going to take this blank sliver in the back cover of the journal and leave some contact information in case the journal is found. But what I'm really doing when I ask people to return my journal, I'm really doing them a favor, because nobody wants to be privy to my thoughts. So just return my journal and you're really saving the world as we know it. Just return my journal, okay? Love you. At this point, I kind of ran out of steam. I am mostly done with the setup, except for this future log. I'm going to take my sweet little time because although I love the way it looks when it's done and it's really useful, it's a pain in the butt to put together. So I'm just going to... Hello everyone. This is the second day of me making this video and setting up my new bullet journal. So I'm already editing this video. This is all very meta right now, but I forgot one very important component of this video, or for me anyway, which is to read my little letter to myself that I put at the end. And of course I can't flip this book open with one hand. I have not read this since I set this journal up back in February, so it'll be a surprise for me as well. I'm right-handed. I can't. Okay, and you can see this Sharpie bleed through situation, so if you use Sharpie markers, be aware. So this is from February 21st of this year. Dear future Alicia, congratulations on completing journal number 13. Time has flown by as it always does. How dare it do that? And by continuing to put yourself into your journaling practice, you magically slow it down a bit. You know more about yourself every day. You know who you is and who you ain't. You know what you stand for and what you will try not to fall for. And if you did fall for it, it's because you were super optimistic about the outcome. That's okay. Keep on learning and growing, keep on learning and knowing about yourself and how you sometimes scamper, sometimes drag through this world. There is such a lot of world to see and so much more to fill up your heart and your journal. Toasting you with an imaginary martini right now. It's lunch because there are olives in it, right? Well done. Alicia from February 2025. Oh, I like this because among other things, your journal is a place to be nice to yourself. It is a place to give yourself that little chin up, that little encouragement. So I always look for opportunities to be able to do that. And so yes, this is one way that I do that. And yeah, it's just a way of making myself feel good if I'm having a bad day, although today was good. So that's now I can safely close this journal up and it is done. This is the setup of my new journal. I'm so excited. I started writing in it yesterday already. Ooh, I won't show you. I'm very pleased with how everything has turned out so far. I'm going to take a little bit of extra time over the weekend to fill out some of these back sections. So I'm not completely done. And of course, I have to write my new letter to myself. So maybe I'll get a martini and write that. I just want to let you know that it's okay to not, you don't have to feel as though you have to set up everything in your journal all at once. Even though most of this did take the better part of the afternoon yesterday, I promise you there have been days when I already started writing in the journal and I was maybe 15-20 pages in and I decided, okay, now I need to go back and set up the front and back covers. But yeah, I like to do this. I like to have at least the front and back decorated. The inside, I don't really care that much. I'm pretty just minimalist with the pen and paper, and that's it, and a few stamps and a few stickers. I enjoy having this time, setting aside the time and being a little bit creative in a way that's not going to be overwhelming or just too fussy or too much. So I hope this gave you some inspiration for your journal, and I am going to go ahead and close this. I hope you subscribe if you are not subscribed yet, and please leave me a like for this video if you enjoyed it, if you got some value, some entertainment out of it. And I thank you all so much for joining me. I'm going to give you the